So she's going to be here in a second. Here she is. Hello, Cynthia. We're live in the Facebook group. And we have some people in our Zoom call, and we have the Zoom is the Facebook group. We're live in the Facebook group. Just telling everyone, I was literally just cleaning, so I'm a filthy, filthy mess right now. Gotta do what I gotta do.
I love it. I love it, Jen.
I feel like let's just get straight into it. So, Cynthia is from Digital Bloom IQ. She is my SEO expert. I'm in her membership, I'm in her course, and we do these trainings in both of our communities to help reach more people about all of our services. And fortunately for me, she's agreed to do different trainings about every month or so on different SEO things. So I'm very excited. Cynthia, go ahead and explain a little bit about what your business does, and then we'll dive right into the presentation.
Yes. So hi, everybody. Happy to be here again. We did a few of these last year, and they were just so much fun. And like Jen has said, we've been kind of collaborating because we know that there are these parallels between Pinterest and SEO. And I mean, it's all connected. So I think it's just such a great way to learn and to continue to grow and reach our goals. And I guess a little bit about me. Yes, I run an SEO agency called Digital Bloom IQ. I also have a podcast called Digitally Overwhelmed, which I have almost 300 episodes. I just like keep saying that and I just can't believe it. It's like I'm a new mom, although I feel less new. My daughter's 2 years old now, so I'm kind of
That's
like
still
getting
new, Cynthia.
okay,
You're
okay.
still trying to, when you run a business and have small children, it's new until they're like in kindergarten, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel less new. I feel like, okay, I kind of got it. Like I got parts of it down. Definitely new parts every day, as the moms listening are like, yeah, every day is something new. But I feel like a little more like I'm enjoying it a little more. You know, that first newborn phase can be pretty intense as well.
Yes.
And I'm Canadian Argentine. That's like a little fun fact that a lot of people are interested by. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about combining your Pinterest and SEO routines. And I love, love, love this topic. This is one of the topics that we've brainstormed with Jen because I know you're in Jen's community. You are consistent with your Pinterest. You're doing Pinterest. You've got Pinterest. So now we want to talk about how can we combine what you're already doing with Pinterest and bring in some SEO elements. And so the idea with this is that you're not having to start a whole new thing. You're just latching on little things that you're already doing so that you can start to grow your visits from Google. And that can be very powerful. And it doesn't necessarily need a lot more of your time or energy. It's just kind of like knowing what you need to be focusing on there. So these are, kind of like the breakdown of what we'll be learning. What is SEO for those of you who are like, I just love Jen and I'm in her community, but I have no idea what this SEO thing is. Or maybe you've heard of people say SEO and you're like, I don't know. Maybe you've heard of SEO, but you're like, okay, but no one's really explained it to me. So I'm hoping that will help. We'll get into some like pillars of SEO to break it down even further. I'll be talking about the March algorithm update, which we've been talking about with Jen. And then we're going to dive into this question of like, what tasks can we combine and kind of like, have coming together, some key tools, and then I have a little surprise for you guys at the end, as always. So I already introduced myself. I'm Cynthia. I'm very passionate about helping female founders get found in Google and change the world. I feel like so many female founders in particular, I wish I had statistics. I need to like look for statistics, but I feel really confident in saying that women-owned businesses just shy away from when they hear the word SEO. And it's this huge untapped area of their marketing that they feel takes too much time, requires some tech or coding skills that they don't have. It's expensive. And that's just not true. And it's like, okay, they'll spend hours in a reel, but a little bit of that time be spent attracting visits from clients and an audience who's already looking for you on Google. So that's kind of my mission. And my mission is to bring like a friendly face to this thing called SEO and just make it more light and fun and just approachable, so that you are motivated to take action on it. All right, so we're breaking it down. So what is SEO? SEO are 3 letters. It stands for search engine optimization. Sounds very technical. It's just a word that some Google engineer decided to name it, but it's not actually that bad. In my books, it's just the act of making your website more human and Google friendly. And so if we were to prioritize, like, is it for Google? Is it for the humans? Even Google says to us, no, 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 it needs to be human friendly. Now, the reality is that our sites are made of code. And so when we're thinking about something like Google friendly, we just need to think about just a friendly experience. Like we're talking about, is it loading quickly? Is the, when you click on a link, is it going to the right page? Like those sort of things are part of SEO. But in general, we do want to prioritize the humans. I have a podcast that's called Humans or Google, like which ones should we choose? And I talk about that quite in depth. All right. And so if we were to, I know we're like rushing through this and I have a lot of content that I dive deep into that, but if we look at the pillars of SEO, so again, like I said, there's different aspects of how we help Google and humans find us better in Google. Here they are. So like I just said, our sites are made of code. So there's like this technical element that we're talking about. How long is a site taking to load? Do we have broken links or deleted pages? What is the overall experience? Last week we had a call with Jen I'm sorry, Jen, I need to point this out because it's such a good example. So we were looking at a page on Jen's site that had brought her a client or a lead. I think it was someone who hired you. And when we opened the keyword in the page, we realized quickly that there was no navigation on that page. And Jen started freaking out, but I got really happy because I was like, this is so easy for her to fix and she can just quickly just get more of those results. That is part of SEO. And in my head, that's technical because getting a navigation on a site, if you do know how to your way around a WordPress site, you can do that. But sometimes you do need to know a little bit of web development or you have a web developer helping you. So that's part of SEO because we could have the best traffic coming to our sites, but if there's no navigation or if there's like links missing or if things are really broken, it's going to be hard to allow those clients to like know how to hire us. The next pillar that many, I don't want to generalize, but I know a lot of people come to me with some awareness around are the keywords and the content. So here, what we're talking about is what is your audience searching? How are they searching it? Like what words are they using? And how are we connecting those words with content on our site that's answering their needs, answering their desires and their questions? So there's a lot of psychology behind this because we sometimes think someone's searching something for a particular reason, but maybe their intention is different. And so, yes, it is about adding those words to like the top of the page or adding it throughout the page, but it goes a little deeper. It's like, okay, why would someone stay on this page? What makes this page interesting or helpful, valuable? And so that is part of the keyword and content aspect. And then the third pillar, there's actually 4 pillars, but I've included 3 in this one. The third pillar here is authority building. And this doesn't get talked about enough because we are so focused on our own sites that we forget that the internet's very vast and we want to be collaborating and having other sites link to us and talk about us. And this can help with our ranking. So if we have other authority sites linking back to us, organically, just naturally, that will send signals to Google saying, hey, this site is valuable. It's an authority site. I recommend it. And so here we are actively working on this. So we're pitching other sites, we're getting featured, we're, asking other sites to link to us. And there's like a whole art and science behind authority building that is part of doing SEO. So these are some of the areas that we can think about when we think about building our SEO strategy. And so I wanted to quickly touch on a recent algorithm update. And I'm looking at how to talk more about algorithm updates in a fun way, because up until now, I've really kind of avoided talking about them. I've made like podcast episodes and stuff, but I just found like whenever I heard someone talk about an algorithm, they were always whining about how it would like decimate their business or something. And so I want to bring this conversation around, okay, yes, there was an algorithm update in March, but what did your site get impacted? Like maybe it wasn't even impacted, maybe it was. And so bringing it more like close to home and saying, okay, what are we doing to just go with the flow of these updates? So this algorithm update is one of many where Google is talking about a helpful content update. So Google is really focusing on the quality of our content on our sites. And this is because we know AI tools have completely changed the landscape of how we create content up until like a few years ago. So Google is saying that the idea behind the search quality is like the usefulness of content is more important than it be clickbaity. And they have a lot of advanced technology of like how they detect AI kind of content, versus, you know, content that maybe has some AI elements, but is really bringing personal experience, you know, just making it more useful, and not just kind of like a list of tips that are random and maybe created by ChatGPT. So Google really wants us to just, again, create high quality, people-centered content. Um, and that's the end of it. I mean, I'm really simplifying. There's a lot of details into that. They also did a lot of updates on like how they detect spam. And there's basically a lot of people, as always, who try to game the system. And so that's what Google is like looking at. Now, I know, you know, people here, we're not like that. We're not spammers. We're not interested in doing that. But it's good for us to be aware that, you know, Google's really cracking down on that. And so at the end of the day, they just want really valuable, reliable content that is human-centered, brings human experience, and is really, again, thinking about what is that searcher needing and like anticipating those needs. So that's why like the tip around like just write a 2,000 word blog post. That's, does the visitor really want that? Do they really need 2,000 words? Maybe they just need like 2 paragraphs. So that kind of thing, a lot of people get tripped up because they just want like this checklist that tells them check, 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 2,000 words, got it. And it does require a little bit more thought process around like, is a video more helpful than maybe a lot of text here? Do I show screenshot examples on this page? Do I have an infographic? Do I break it out? You know, what's the order of my content? So those kind of things is, it just requires a little more depth and creativity, to be honest. And those are the things that I also talk about in my SEO course. So if you want to be inspired by algorithm updates instead of freaking out by them, I am planning on doing more like hands-on algorithm kind of workshops. And I'll be sending information about algorithm updates and my view on them through my email list. So I've just included there the link digitalbloomiq.com/email. And I send a bunch of different, oh, thanks, Jen, for sharing the link.
Yes.
I send different SEO, free SEO resources all the time. All right, so coming back to this idea of combining our Pinterest and our Google. So if we were to compare them side by side, we know that they're both search engines that are like, you know, looking at information, sharing information, and problem solving. Pinterest is much more visual. And, you know, it's like a visual discovery engine. And I would say, I mean, again, I think this slide, I'd love to hear Jen's thoughts, but I feel like Pinterest is more like creativity, inspiration, you know, just
It's
those.
it's
Yeah.
really a lot of exactly what Google does. Information and problem solving,
Mm.
tips. Um, how-tos, a lot of how-tos. And
Mhm.
just like with Google, Pinterest is the same way. When people want to learn something or know something, they'll go search on Pinterest or they'll go search on Google. And when they search
Yes.
on Google, Pinterest comes up. So
Mhm.
it's options as well. I always say that Pinterest is like Google's little cousin.
Yes.
And YouTube is Google's child, right?
Yes. Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
all
they're
search
definitely,
engines though.
yeah, they're all cousins. Definitely, well, there is like such there's distinctions between how the visitor uses it, but they're very, very similar. And we can't compare that so much to something like Instagram. Although, I don't know, I was talking to an Instagram expert recently, and they were saying that the search functionality in Instagram is changing, but it's not anywhere near close to the technology that Google has. And Google has been around longer, right? So the algorithm is just more advanced. So the content, again, for Google, web pages, videos, images, news. Pinterest is, again, images, videos, linked articles. There is a personalization aspect. So Google looks at, okay, what have you searched for in the past, your location. Same thing with Pinterest. Does Pinterest look at your location as well, Jen?
Um, if you use location specific keywords, which every local business should, yes. Same with Google, right?
Yes.
When I look for a photographer, the first results that are going to come up is that like calendar or that map with all the
Mhm.
businesses near me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Pinterest
Yes.
is similar. It doesn't have the map, obviously, but it's similar.
Yes. Yeah. 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 So Google can track where we are. We have to give it permission, but it can track where we are. And so based on that, it can give us recommendations. Google doesn't have as much of a social impact. So like that's the whole idea of it. You're just kind of like in your own tunnel of searching. And that's different. Pinterest does have more of a social because we're following, we're sharing, we're commenting. Pinterest is an interesting combination of search engine and kind of like a social platform, I would say. And in Google, the visuals, depending on what we're searching, they can be helpful. There are searches where someone is looking for something like an image, and that's a Google image search. But in general, we'll say most people are looking for our text information or maybe a video. Pinterest, we know the visuals are very important, and I'd say Pinterest is one of the few platforms that has it's like created its own experience, right? Like it's so unique. I remember when Pinterest came out that there was just nothing like it, and I think that's just so fascinating to think about. Okay, so we know that Pinterest is a visual search engine, and so it's important to think about someone searching for Google versus Pinterest. But a lot of the tasks that we do both for Pinterest and Google are similar. And so here we're going to get into some tasks that we can combine and just, yeah, do together. Why not? And so if you've never done SEO, you've never focused on Google, this is a great opportunity to start thinking about some of these things. Now, I'm going to give you quite a few examples. So you don't need to do all of them unless you're inspired to, but just doing one or two things can already make a big difference in how you start ranking in SEO. So the first one is keyword research. And here, what we really want to look at is understanding what our potential clients are searching, and how that can help us connect with their needs and desires. So just like in Pinterest, if someone searches something specific like, yeah, like wedding ideas or something like I'm thinking of Jen's business, wedding photography ideas, or branding, shot list. The same thing happens in Google. So the keywords are slightly different. So when we're doing keyword research, we want to use each platform separately. So you can take the keywords you're searching in Pinterest, plug them into Google, and start to analyze the search results and see what is coming up in Google that I've been searching in Pinterest. So that's like an easy way to get started. Like Google itself is like a keyword research tool. You don't need to go out and buy a fancy tool. You can just use Google itself. And I think we'll have time to do a demo of like what that looks like. Um, So yes, there's
And
that.
I want to just say one thing in terms of rich pins. Everyone gets so nervous and so upset about rich pins, and rich pins are nothing you need to focus on. As long as you upload the code, which we all need to do to be able to claim our website and see the analytic results, it's going to be pulling that metadata from your blog post into Pinterest. So it's not like an extra step that people think it is.
Cool. Yeah, I just included that, but
Of
I knew
course.
you're gonna add context. I'm not even sure. Like I was like rich pins. Okay, let's just add it there.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next aspect that we can think about combining and recycling is our content. So why do we use Pinterest? We want to drive that traffic to our websites because our websites are where people buy from us, where they sign up for our email lists. It's where we make our sales. So Pinterest is a clear driver to our websites. The same thing with SEO. That's the same flow. It's like we're getting people from the search results to our blogs, to our content. So again, if we're focusing on a specific keyword that we're targeting in Pinterest, we can use the same keyword, create a page. If you don't like the word blog, we can just call it an article, whatever you want to call it, a page on our site that targets the same keyword, and just has useful information about that keyword. So if I'm just grabbing a random keyword, but if anybody wants me to demo their keywords and their business, just put it in the chat and we can use, different examples. But let's say you're like a health coach and you want to talk about, like nutritious meals, postpartum nutritious meals. So you want to have like a list of some maybe meals that you recommend postpartum women gravitate to. So that page on your site would have the recipes, would have the meals, maybe they would link to different recipes. And then once they're on your site, you can decide, do you want to invite them to join your email list? Do you want to invite them to buy like a meal plan? So suddenly, that traffic isn't just plain old traffic, it's someone who would potentially buy from you right off the first visit. So see how it's the same idea. It's the same idea. And it can be just really easy to translate that. So again, I'm happy to give any other specific examples for someone live or if you're watching the replay.
I did put, we've got 4 people watching live on Facebook. I did put in the comments if you want to tell us what your business is and like
Yes.
what your focus is and what kind of clients you want, then I can go ahead
Yes.
and say that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to use Holly, who's on Zoom right
Okay.
now, as an
Yes.
example. So she's a wedding photographer, gorgeous weddings. She's located in Dana Point, I believe, down south in Southern California. And she really focuses on coastal weddings or, beach weddings. I wouldn't say beach weddings because she does cliffs and things like that. But how would you help her?
Love it. Yeah. So definitely those like location, if you're a business who's in a location, you want to make sure you're including that on your site. So yeah, the name of
And
like wherever
the
you're.
surrounding areas too, not
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Yeah, you could have individual pages. You need to be careful. You don't include exactly the same text on all of them and don't
Yes.
do a bajillion, like maybe pick 3 to 5 like areas that you think people might be searching and then creating individual pages that are fairly unique. That can be helpful for your SEO. And then, yeah, including it on your homepage, on your about page, on your contact page. That can be very, very helpful.
And
And
with wedding photographers, also with Holly, there's venues, and so that gives you just the venue keyword as well as the city keyword. So every single blog post that you're sharing your client photos is absolutely going to be key
yeah.
to finding clients. I once did a blog post a long time ago on a beach for an engagement session. And I had 2 people, one in LA and one in Ohio, who were coming to the Bay Area and wanted to get married on that beach. And I booked 2 weddings from an engagement photo.
Right.
blog post. So don't you just want to go with each blog post, you want to go in on where you are and all the things about the place for
Yeah.
photographers in particular.
Yeah, it's like a case study. So if you're a service, based business, or you're not a wedding photographer, you can use the same strategy, but use it as a case study. Like if you help lawyers or if you help health and wellness, again, you can case study it, and that way you attract people who are searching that. But yeah, the venue is a great way, in particular for Holly, to again, yeah, attract visitors who are searching for those venues. The other type of content you can think about is like tips and tricks. So if you know your clients want to get, yeah, photography on a windy cliff, maybe you have like tips for like, because I can imagine the logistics of wind and a wet dress and stuff can be kind of intimidating, even though the shots are beautiful. Maybe as a bride is like, well, what does that look like? How do I put my hair? Like, give me some tips. Like maybe even they think about what kind of dress they're going to go for if that's really something they want, right, in the photography. So, or like shoes, the thought of shoes at a wedding stress me out because you don't want to be on the edge of a cliff with heels, right? So it's like, okay, those are the type of things where it's like, could I have like tips for cliff photography? I don't know. You have to do keyword research there, but that's that first tip I was saying, like, what is your keyword research? And then you can duplicate that for the pins and for the blog that you do. And so you duplicate that content. You can write the blog, take parts of it, and you make them pins. That can also become your social media. And then, so I had this on the first slide, but I actually did want to break it out, is that there's the keyword research part, and then there's keyword implementation. So that's why I'd mentioned the rich pins and again, I could be wrong. So Jen, you can correct me, but there are specific areas of your site that you do want to be adding keywords very intentionally and consciously, not just like shoving them in there. But knowing how to do that, it's like an art and a science, and Jen knows this, is like it's a whole art form. And so a lot of people are confused about that because the recommendation used to be just add it as many places as possible, like just like here and there, and like hide
It's
it
got to
behind.
be like human conversation now. That's kind of
Yeah.
one of those core updates, is really focusing on the human information, because with the advent of AI, which is wonderful, everyone has these fully, like, a ton of words, super fluffy, and not a lot of actionable content.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can imagine in Pinterest too, there are some like very strategic places we want to be thinking about adding these keywords. So in my mind, you could have one doc that has all your keywords, and then that's the same one you're pulling from when you're setting up your keywords on your site versus you're setting up your keywords on Pinterest. So it
Yeah,
can be,
for all the people that have my, almost everyone in this Facebook group has my free resources, and in there is the keyword analyzer. And so it's got, it's basically a keyword builder. And we go through and search in Pinterest, just like you would do on Google, all these
yes.
keywords, although Google's a whole lot easier. And we have all the different keywords that we can use, so you can pull from them when you're pinning. But the
Right.
same can be true for Google as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just separated them out because I did want to like, they're two different tasks
Yeah.
that require different skills and different parts of the brain. So
Yeah.
that. And then the last area that I kind of just think that is interesting is our category tag and board organization. So I know boards in Pinterest are a whole thing. And again, Jen, you can comment on that, but having that strategy combined with your category and tag strategy on your website can be so powerful, because from an SEO perspective, so we've seen some sites that actually their category and tag pages are the highest ranking pages on their site because they're very valuable. So this is something you can align on, and a lot of people do get a little overwhelmed with like, what categories do I choose and stuff like that. So you can just have them be the same and just have that like both happening on both platforms.
Yeah. And I will point out, in terms of boards, a lot of people want to make them super fancy, like good eats.
Yeah,
That's not searchable. People are not looking for
exactly.
good eats, chances are. So be super specific in your boards, just like you want to be in your blog post. Recipes for um, peanut allergies, or recipes that you can make in 10 minutes, or like, be really specific with those boards. And guess what? If those keywords, which hopefully are also your category, if you find that they're valuable, I
Yes.
always tell people when you start Pinterest, start with your blog categories and make boards for each of your blog categories. And guess what? How many times have I searched on Pinterest and someone's board comes up in the results? Not even a
Yes.
blog, but their board, because then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to go to that Pinterest board because then I'll have 15 different blogs that I can look at instead of just the one that popped up.
Right. Yeah. So that's like another kind of sub strategy. It's kind of like an extra thing. Although I've had clients who are like, I want to rank in Google through my Pinterest. So that can be a goal for you.
Mhm.
But we've seen this that your Pinterest board or your pin can
Yes,
actually rank in Google. So people see your pin, they go to your Pinterest and then they go to your site or they hang out in Pinterest, whatever.
exactly.
So that it's like all within, it's all good, it's all positive,
Yeah,
and it can be very helpful. So this is like another area that can be combined, and you don't need to like worry about it being super unique. You can just take what you're already doing and just cross it over to the other platform.
awesome.
Um, and then the last thing, I guess this is a little bit more focused on SEO because honestly, in Pinterest,
Well,
like
no. I will disagree, and I'll tell you why.
love it,
You
love
can
it.
have the best Pinterest strategy. You can have thousands of millions of followers and all that good stuff. But if your website isn't optimized to convert people, you're wasting your time.
Yeah,
So I always tell people when you're going to be working on Pinterest, you want to make sure that your website is optimized with all the keywords that are needed for Google so that it
yeah,
can be ranking, but also so that you can guide people to where you want them to go.
yes.
So I would say it's important.
I love it. I
I
think
mean, we
I
get them
almost
from Pinterest and we get them to our blog post and they read it and they leave. But like your first point, if you have a call to action, and I never say to put it at the end of a blog, always put it in the middle of the blog because most people don't get to the end of the blog. So
yeah.
put that call to action right in the middle. I can't tell you how many people sign up for my email list. Well, because I've got free Pinterest resources because they landed on my blog. So trap
Yeah.
them, get them.
Yeah, I was talking to this with a client yesterday, and she was like, her mind was just blown by this email list thing because it's you're getting people into your world. They might not be ready. We don't know at what stage they are in their journey, whether they're just gaining awareness of your services, they've never heard of what you do, or they're ready to buy. Wherever they're at, like both ends of that funnel of that, whatever you want to call it, you want to get, have them be in your world because then you can continue to nurture them. Even if they buy, you can sell to them again. So I
They
don't know.
say that it used to be 7 touches to get somebody, and there's new research coming out that it's like 14 or 15 times. Like it's a little bit harder. So you have to constantly be touching base. So the only mistake that I'll say is if you have a call to action and a lead magnet, you better be sending emails because so many people do that to get people on their email list, but then they're not actually sending emails. And it's like, don't do it then.
Yeah, it's like a whole other conversation, but it
Yeah.
is part of this conversation because again, a lot of people with SEO, I don't know, with Pinterest, it's like, oh, it's a nice to have. No, you want to grow your email list, you want to have more sales. It's not a nice to have. It's just it has to be there because how else are if you just rely on social media, it's just not enough right now. And
Well,
again,
and
you
they
can
say 20% of your sales will come from your email list. And I
right.
and that it's true for me. I
Mhm.
literally
Yes.
doubted it for a long
Yeah.
time. Then I
Yeah.
started using my email list and duh, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, the people who want to be in your world, they're just already ready to buy, right? In most cases. So yeah. So again, yeah, from an SEO perspective, just having a nice site is like inviting someone to your home and like just having it be a really warm and helpful experience. They don't feel awkward. They can just like click around. They know where they're going. And so that builds trust and it just again helps with the sale, right? So if someone comes to your site and it's like slow and it's frustrating. We've all had that experience where it's like, I want to buy something, but this is taking too long to load, and you just lose people. So this part of just having like an attractive website is really, really important and is part of everything we're talking about.
And I don't know if you're going to touch on it in a little bit, so don't dive in if you don't need to right now, but the internal linking is important between similar content and helpful pages. My analytics went crazy. And one of the reasons why it did, there's a lot of reasons because I've been focusing on SEO, but one of the reasons why is because I am now making sure I have at least 2 or 3 links within that blog post that goes somewhere else. So if I'm talking about something and it has to do with maybe another blog post, I'm going to underline a few words. That
Mhm.
is called, I think, what, stickiness that keeps
Mhm.
people on your website longer, which sends signals to Google that you have valuable content.
Yes. Yeah, I think we all had that experience when we find a really helpful site. You're like, "Oh, they have this thing," and you start to tab, like tab, tab, tab. You have like 5 tabs because that's the experience that we have now. It's not a linear like homepage, about page. No, we go back and forth. We like start reading a blog, we get excited. I want to check out the about page is so important. Like people will go to the about page just to see your face, and then they'll go back to the blog, and then they'll find another blog and another blog, and then they'll go back to the first one. And so that's the experience that we forget that that's the experience our users are having. And so we want to help with that experience of having people stay longer on the site by providing helpful links. It's not about shoving them in there again, like just because we need them, but like what would be really helpful? Well, it is helpful to have a call to action to other blogs that are related to that topic. It is helpful to have a link to an opt-in that again grows our email list, but is also related to that blog. We want to have our service page, like links to our services from the homepage and from the about page, because someone landing on our about page, they're kind of like already kind of buying from us. They want to get to know us. So why not we just give them the link? Like, this is what you could do next to work with me. And so sometimes it's hard to remember all these things. But that's one of the things I break down in the course and the membership is like, these are the links you want to have on each of these pages. And it doesn't have to be something that like you remember later. It's like right there from the beginning. So it can be very helpful.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to dive into some key tools, and then maybe Jen, we can grab someone to demo a little bit or use you as our little guinea pig as
Yeah.
usual. I'll
We,
give.
we have Danielle on this Zoom, so I'm thinking maybe Danielle would like to get a little help in this, but if not, you can demo me. We'll go forward.
All right, we'll give Danielle a few minutes to think about it, but here's some key tools that you can use to help with this like recycling. I call it recycling, reusing, just like having your Pinterest and your SEO be like aligned. So I know Canva, this bulk uploader tool have you used this, Jen?
Yes,
Yes.
I have. I went and found like a bunch of quotes by badass women, and I made a Pinterest pin, and then I just add the text. Basically, it says text, and then you pull in from a CVS.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a
CSV.
whatever, and then
An
it
Excel.
it
Yeah,
literally
spreadsheet.
makes you as many quotes as you have. That's how many pins it makes. It's kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Yeah, so it's like this super fast way of generating the same pin in Canva over and over and like giving it like a new variable. And so in terms of SEO, what you can do is you can take your keywords, you can take your blogs, like let's say you have a blog that has a few different tips around again, like what is Danielle's business?
She's a photographer,
Oh, of course.
branding, family, and seniors, I think.
Okay, so
Danielle?
let's say you got like a blog that's like tips for senior photo shoots. So you could take some of those tips, you could again do the spreadsheet, the CSV, and you could have your tips be like, I don't know, 50 pins. I don't know how many tips, obviously that may be too much, but let's say you have like 5 tips. So you could have a few different variations of the same tips, but with different pin styles and stuff like that. So that's one way of speeding up that process instead of having to be like, what should I pin? I don't know. It's like, well, let's just duplicate this, right? And have it go across a few different designs. ChatGPT, I'm sure all of you are aware of this incredible tool. It allows us to take a blog and you can ask it, make this into, 5 different pin texts or pin description. I don't know the vernacular.
I'm gonna give the exact prompt because I get this
Okay.
question a lot and it is like gold. So I will say, so when I have my blog done, I usually do it in Google Docs first, and then I put it into my blog. So when it's done, I copy the whole thing, and then I say, please create 5 SEO optimized Pinterest pin titles and
Yes.
descriptions. And in parentheses, I put 450 to 500 characters with no hashtags, because we don't use hashtags on Pinterest, for this content, colon, and then I paste the whole blog post in there. I do this every single week. I do this with all of my clients, and it is working because it's giving me 5 totally different pin titles, totally different pin descriptions that all lead to my blog post. It's genius.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I want to also say that you could go the other way around. Let's say you've like done your pins first, which I mean, I'm assuming, well, I don't know, like maybe or you have old pins. Let's say you did
Yeah.
like your tips pins. You can grab the content from the pin and you can say to ChatGPT, take these 5 tips, they obviously have to
Yeah.
connect.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
draft a blog post with this information?
Yes. Yes.
So it can go
It's
both
crazy.
ways.
I have people do that with Instagram posts, because oftentimes the captions and Instagram posts are super short, but there's like 3 tips in it. You copy that whole thing and put it in and say, can you please create a blog post that's SEO optimized? And then put in the content and it makes a blog. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Of
Yes.
course, you
Now
want
you
to put
have
in
to
all
go.
your brand verbs or your brand
Yes.
words and vibes and the whole 9
Yes. Yes.
yards. I
Yes.
always like to say that. But other than that, yeah.
Another little tip that I'm going to be talking about on my, you mentioned the podcast. I have an SEO for podcast training coming up. And one little tip that I've been just so impressed with is taking a podcast transcript, right? The
I
transcript.
do the same thing.
And then saying to ChatGPT, please uh pull out the examples I give around this topic or something like that. And so that's what I'll infuse into the blog post. So there's just different ways to use this tool as like your little assistant who never gets tired and is up at 3 a.m. doing whatever you want it to do. And so it's just so incredibly powerful. So from the SEO side, one of the keyword tool, I don't recommend tons of SEO tools because I still think there needs to be like a thought process. But one of them that I see my clients find and students find very helpful is a Chrome plugin called Keywords Everywhere. I think it's also available for Firefox.
It's free.
So
It's great.
yes. So you can use it to just literally you turn it on and it gives you keyword ideas within Chrome. So that can be really, really powerful when you're starting to get deeper into SEO land and keyword research. And then I also just included here Recur Post that you can use to just like schedule out your content, your Pinterest. What's the one that you recommend, Jen, in terms of Pinterest, like
Um,
pinning scheduler?
Tailwind. Tailwind, tailwind,
Tailwind.
tailwind, tailwind. It has AI built in. It can write blog posts for you. It posts to Facebook and Instagram. It is a no-brainer. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll include that. I'll go back and re-include that because I know there was another one. But all these tools make it easy for us to just take out like the manual part of this and like just make it go faster. And I know in Pinterest there is like this volume of like pins you need to be pinning for it to, be working for you. So I wanted to demo before I get to the surprise. I know we have
Yeah. So Danielle needs to leave at 11:55, I believe. However, you can go ahead and demo with
yeah.
her, and then if she has to leave, then she can watch the replay.
Yes. I guess I should have asked this before,
Yes.
Danielle, if you can put your website and your Pinterest account in the chat, that'd be great. Or maybe Jen, you know it and you can also,
I might. But Danielle, if you could put that in there.
because then we can like
Do you want
really,
to
really,
start with her website? I can look
yeah,
up her
yeah.
Pinterest after we get her website.
Yes, I
There
can
you
totally start.
there you
Yeah.
go. There's her website.
Okay. There we
I'll
go.
grab her Pinterest. Unless you're putting it in right now.
I guess I'll probably be able to grab her Pinterest from her site, right? Maybe.
If she has it linked, if not, that's a great action item. She's just starting the process of Pinterest, so no
Ah,
stress.
okay. Yes.
She's just starting to work
Love
with
it.
us.
Okay. So, um, lovely, lovely site. Okay, so your Pinterest is the same. So it's the same handle,
Yeah, I'm
probably.
gonna pull it up right now for you.
Okay. I think I know how to.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Like that? Or is there an at?
Um,
Try
it should
that.
be there. That should be it.
Okay, cool. All right,
And
so
then
the
you have to log
idea
in.
of this demo is to give you guys it's an
Yeah, I'm
error.
gonna find it.
Because that
And
my Pinterest goes to the Canadian version of
yeah,
Pinterest.
it could be.
Let's try .com. Oh, it's not. Okay, it doesn't matter. Maybe while Jen's doing that, I'll start looking at the is this it? I think this is Danielle motif. No. All right, I'll start with your site, Danielle, and then we can look at your Pinterest profile. So this is great. You're doing a good job already.
This is
So
why
what
I love Cynthia. She will give you action items, but she's not harsh. She's super. This is why I love working with her.
Well, I want to be encouraging. I know it can be nerve-wracking
Yeah.
when someone's looking at your site and you're like trying to figure things out. Especially if you're kind of the beginning of the journey, it's like very sensitive. So I'm loading here your blog, but one thing I was gonna say is like just looking at and starting to build awareness around your keywords. So one of my favorite tools that I recommend with SEO is the Search Console. So you can set up your Search Console, and it's a free tool. And that allows you to start to get awareness around your keywords and what you're currently ranking in. And oh, I don't know why it's taking so long. Um, and so that way you can also, when I say document, I mean like a Word doc, a spreadsheet, like whatever you need to be able to start to say, okay, these are the words that you want to be targeting inside your website and your Pinterest profile. And so like we said, you can just duplicate them. So your blogs can be your pins and your pins can be your blogs. And so they can be the same thing across the board. For your main site sections, you can also do pins. Like, I guess, Jen, could she do like family photography Scottsdale for a pin? Or is that like not the right
Oh
strategy?
yeah. Yeah, I would just say I would say family photo shoot in Scottsdale. Or
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I always say it like somebody reads it, and for whatever reason Google and Pinterest understands, and if somebody says family photos Scottsdale or Scottsdale family photos, it will pull up.
Yes. There we go. So yeah. So so the power of brand photos in attracting your ideal client. Perfect. So this could be a blog post. I mean, I'm assuming
It is.
maybe
It
it's a
is a
blog
blog
post.
post. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, so this is the right idea. So you can take the pins, your blogs and make them pins. And for all the different just tips and things. Oh, here you did. This is the one you were mentioning before, Diane, senior photos by a pro.
Gorgeous photography, by the way, Danielle. Love it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tips here you could do specifically because I know for a teen it can be very nerve-wracking, I think, to be like, I don't know, there's like zits happening. You know, it's like, how do I do my makeup? How do I like, yeah, pose? I'm sure this is part of the experience of working with you, Danielle, but I could see a series of blogs around like helping teens with their senior shots, right?
How to prepare for a senior photo shoot. Drinking a
Yes.
lot of water, getting a lot of sleep, which teens typically don't do.
Exactly. Yeah. So we want to think about in terms of SEO, like what are those yeah, fears, needs, like what are the things coming up behind the service of the photography? And we all like, you know, it's not just about the photos, it's about the working with you and making you feel comfortable with getting behind the camera, seeing the value of them. And that can be really powerful. And so again, you can like just use both those things in both your strategies. Is that helpful? Do you have any specific questions, Danielle? I know you have to hop off soon, but maybe there's like a specific blog you want me to look at or anything specific in terms of Pinterest. I love this one, hire professional for your brand photos. There you go. Yeah. Happy to give you any more recommendations. And I'll also be hanging out in Jen's group throughout. So if you're watching the replay or if you're just like processing, you know, it just takes time to process all the information we throw at you guys. You can always just come back and I'll answer any additional
Yeah, you would
questions.
just tag her and I'll put that in the notes.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to move on to my surprise, but I will still have a little time for questions at the end, in case someone has like anything else that comes up for them. I'm just changing my screen. Jen, oh, sorry. Danielle asks, I just saw a question. It went away.
Oh, I also
I
add
also
reels.
add
Is that a
reels.
good idea?
Yes.
Embed,
Reels.
embed, embed.
Yes, to your blog. So yeah, reels are a great way to like add a video element to the same blog. And again, we're all about just let's make it easy, right? So, you know, how can we duplicate that social media content and make it, and I would say, you know, could you make it a YouTube video too? Why not? I know it does take a little time to like get it on each platform, but once you get things going, it's not that
We
much
we
extra
talked
time.
we talk a lot about that in the membership, that whenever you create a video, whether it's for Pinterest or for TikTok or for Instagram, you always want to reshare it to all of the platforms that you're on. That's point of resharing or repurposing. One thing I will add though, a lot of people think that they want to upload that video to their website. So talk a little bit about why that's not a good idea.
um, what do you mean like upload, like reshare
So
the YouTube?
like they have this reel and they're going
Yeah.
to upload the video to the website instead of like embedding it in the blog
Oh,
post.
right.
For
Yeah,
two
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you embed it, it's just gonna be faster, I guess. Like
Yeah,
I guess.
the website loads faster. I had a website and I had a bunch of videos on there, and it was years ago, and the website just loaded so slowly that Google doesn't like it. And
Yeah.
so you want to embed it, but the second reason to embed it is because then you're going to drive people to your Instagram and start following you to be able to nurture them there too.
Yeah, some of these things to me are like I don't even think about it, but you're so right. Like I
It's
just
all
think
the
it's
marketing stuff. I can't help it. I just think in terms of marketing all the time.
yeah, yeah. It's again like people, these like 16 touch points in a sale. So of course you want people on your Instagram, on your Pinterest, on your site. Like they're kind of like bouncing around and getting all those different areas of your brand. Okay, so the little surprise. So as we've been talking about, SEO is super important. I want to like highlight the statistics. There are 8.5 billion searches a day in Google. That's like a huge
Wow.
amount of people. So if we can think about if we can just get a tiny, tiny percentage of this, we would all be very, very, you know, great, fine, doing great in our business. And so we want to think about that strategy, that SEO strategy, how we're taking action, because having a pretty set website, yes, is so important, especially as, you know, a photographer or a visual kind of, you know, service. You want that beautiful online presence. But I really don't think it's enough, because we need to be profitable. We want to make money, right? We want to help those people. And so just it being pretty, it's not enough. It needs to be, in the short term, your website needs to play an active role in your marketing to attract those leads who are already looking for you now and are ready to buy you now. And then in the long term, and Jen can speak to this too, is like it's this beautiful complement to your other marketing channels. Because the way SEO works, it's like a snowball effect. So it just starts to compound on its own, and you don't have to always be pumping out more and more content. It becomes more about tweaking, curating, you know, updating existing content. And that's such a different mindset than the social media cookie monster, as I call it, that wants to be fed content
Yes.
all the time, all the time. So it's
Well, and
just
the
this
time that you
really,
take to create something on like a reel, as an example, you're going to get maybe 72 hours of a visual, like of people being able to see it, and then it's gone.
visibility.
Where when
Yeah.
you use your blog and you use Pinterest, both of them last months, years. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I have most of my students and clients, again, Jen can speak to this, where they'll come to me and they're like, remember that blog we created like 3 years ago? Like that's still getting me
taking a
sales. It got me sales first year, second year, and it's growing. It's not going down, it's going up. And I'm like, of course it is. And that's the beauty of SEO. And again, that can be just, it's like a nice balance with all the other type of marketing that can sometimes feel like it's different. Like we have to be present, we need to be moving and stuff like that. So my surprise is I have an offer for everybody here live on the call for the SEO Season Society, which is our SEO membership.
so,
So
so good. Oh,
I
I literally, it's yeah.
um
It's having Cynthia in your pocket. Let me just be specific. That should be a tagline. Because anytime I have questions on SEO, I just show up to one of the SEO calls and boom, it's like I've got an SEO on retainer person,
yeah.
you know?
Yes, yes. So I reopened the membership last year. It was kind of on hold, but I quickly realized, well, a bunch of things happened. I just realized like there were a lot of people in my community who had the information they needed, but they weren't taking action. So the idea with the SEO Season Society is you automatically get access to my 4-step SEO methodology that's included in the SEO course. So
So
that's within
good.
the membership.
It's so
Um,
robust, you guys. Oh,
but there's more. So the membership is actually a very one-to-one, like Jen says, a very live experience. So each month we have live demo calls, just like we did for Danielle. Um, and yeah, we looked at your site, we open up your site, we take a look, I tell you what to do, I give you feedback. And so it's just more relevant. It's not just like this nice to have thing that someone's giving you. It's like, do this, do that, because it can change based on your site. So we have,
and watching somebody else's demo can really help you. It's
yeah.
shocking how even if you don't get the demo that month, whatever demo you're doing, I'm like, oh, I have not done that yet. Or, it's very good.
Yeah, so there's like a community space where I have the replays and everything. So if you can't come live, that's fine. I try to rotate the time zones, but it's just normal for there to be different things going on. So apart from the live demo calls, there's also monthly community writing sessions. And
Oh,
this has
good.
transformed everybody in the community because each month you have an hour. It's just an hour. Like it's not even, I'm saying 3 hours or 5 hours. It's 1 hour. And I am just shocked because all of us get so much work done.
You
We
get work done too. Like it is I go on when I need to buckle down and get this work done and be able to ask questions if I need to afterwards. You know what I mean?
yes,
So
exactly.
good.
So there's no talking. We talk a little bit. We talk
At
about
the
our goals.
end,
Yeah,
a
yes,
little
yes.
bit, but yeah, no, it's focused work. I love it.
Mhm. Yeah, Pomodoro style. We do two 25-minute sessions and we talk about what we want to get done. And again, if you just showed up to that, you would get incredible results. So that's the cool thing about this community in SEO is like it's very targeted and it's not about creating a whole other set of tasks. It's about looking at what you're already doing and latching onto that and making it super easy for you to take action. So within the SEO Season Society, I've just seen incredible results. So my members have increased their website clicks by 82%. They've increased the growth in the website traffic, specifically from Google organic searches.
I'm one of those.
Yeah, Jen's
I'm in
traffic
there.
just like skyrocketed
It's
um,
crazy.
by 222%. And then they've also increased their position in Google by, so the position is like if you're on page 2, on page 3, on page 20, they've increased their position towards page 1 by 37%. So there's just, it's
I'm going to
just so,
give a
so
very
powerful.
quick example just because it is so valuable that I have to share my experience with it.
Yes,
I went from a wedding photographer and I have gone completely to brand photography, which fits into my
yes,
marketing side of my business. And I've done that over the last 3 months, I guess. And already I am ranking, what is it, on the first, maybe the second page for brand photographer in the Bay Area.
yes.
Wow. And that's months. That is not typical for SEO, but I'm doing the work and
Hmm.
it's working.
Yes,
I
yes, things
can't
can
tell
move.
you.
quickly. Like I get asked a lot, SEO, does it take time? Yes, it can. I think it can take time before, just it's really like this important revenue stream for you. But the movement in the search results, a search console and stuff, it actually is weeks. Like it's like maybe you got like a month before you start seeing certain keywords come up. It shouldn't take months and months and months for you to get to page one. I've had clients and students that, they're on page one in 2 to 3 months. So
Yes, yes.
I think the perception around time is just different. And again, I see it as just this incredibly sustainable marketing channel that snowballs and grows over time. And because of that, the sooner you can start with just even an hour a month can be very, very powerful. So
So
like I
good.
said, there's these live demo calls within the SEO Season Society. You've got your writing session, your community writing sessions. I also do live training. So like I mentioned, this month, we're doing an SEO for podcasting training, which I'm so, so excited about because I know
I cannot
a lot of
wait.
you, a lot of you have podcasts or are thinking about podcasts. And you're like, how can I attract visits with my podcast? So I'm going to be breaking that down. Next month, we're going to be doing YouTube SEO. So my goal is every month to give you, information, so you can just keep learning, and it doesn't need to be overwhelming. So, when you join, you can watch the replay, watch it, maybe there's one month that's busy. Same with the course, you get access to module 0, which is setting up your search console and setting up all your tools. So that's what you get immediate access to when you join. But then it drips out weekly. And so it's very self-paced, it's very manageable. The video trainings in the course that you get access to are like 10 to 15 minutes. They're like, I really just make it easy. And I've had many people say, like, this is easy for me to get traction and like get excited about that. Um, I do also sometimes, I haven't done this as much this year, but we do once in a while do live Q&A calls. We do
Yes.
planning calls. It's like just this really accountable space if you're wanting to get that like one-to-one support with your SEO. And then lastly, I know we've gone over, for anybody who's just feeling inspired to join, if you join today and you're in Jen's groups, even if you're watching the replay, but it's the same day, you get a list of 15 high volume, low competition keyword ideas. So this is just like to like get you going in the right direction. So these are handpicked by me. I'll explain to you, why I chose them. And so this is just like a great
So
way to
stinking
get
good.
started.
So good.
So yes, if you're interested in joining, I guess, Jen, we need to do the link.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you need to scroll all the way to the bottom. She has a lot of education in there, but scroll all the way to the bottom because she has the great stuff down there. So let me put it in right
Yes.
now.
And I can also, Jen, if you want, I'm pretty sure I can get you the checkout link. Okay, I'll get that to you later, but just
Yeah.
like the pay
Yeah,
part.
yeah. And I wonder if I click on it, then it'll still I'll
Yes.
put the checkout link in there. We'll put the checkout
Yes,
link
yes. It will it will
in.
it should
Okay.
stick to
Yep.
your.
I know what you're saying. So let me go.
So yeah, so I'm available for a few more minutes if there are any follow-up questions or anything someone wants to ask about the SEO Season Society. We're going to be doing these trainings, I think we said monthly, right, Jen? So next month,
Yes.
I don't know what we're talking about next month, but
We've got some ideas.
I'm
But
excited.
also, yeah, in fact, I don't, when I click on it, it doesn't seem to be working for me. It's showing me my products because I'm already in it. Do you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Oh,
So
then yeah, then don't worry. It should work because
yeah, it'll work for
you're not
them.
logged
So you
in.
just scroll down to the bottom. There's monthly and there's annual. If you know this is what you have to focus on for the year, you can do the annual as well as at a discount.
Yes, there's a few months for free, I think, for the annual.
Awesome. All right. I don't think we have any questions. Obviously, if you have questions, I did put Cynthia in there so you can tag her for any questions you have. But I would love to be able to have you guys join us because I'm there. I love this stuff.
Jen
Even
is
when I
at all
miss
the calls and
when
I love.
it's like one-on-one help. I mean, sometimes not everyone shows up every time.
Yeah.
And so even when I miss a call and then I go to the next call, I've got like more questions. So it is so good. Thanks, Danielle. Danielle said thank you
Thank you,
for your
Danielle.
demo call. I know she'll
Yes.
get it and she'll start working on it too. she's a take action person.
Love it. Love it. Oh, I'm
All
so
right.
excited.
Well, thank you guys so much. Any questions also about Season Society, you can ask me or you can ask Cynthia. So definitely put those questions down below and we'll let you
Yes.
know.
Amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
You. All
All
right,
right,
guys.
have a great day.
Great rest of your
Bye.
day.
See ya.
Bye.